Africa's most iconic landscape, Savannah. A stage where nature's greatest dramas unfold. Famous for the Big Five, it's also home to less well-known creatures. From predator to prey, energy flows through this dynamic system. Every species has a role to play in the Savannah's unique web of life. Africa is dominated by thornbush savanna, vast sweeping grasslands that cover almost half of the continent's surface. Savanna extends over 30 million square kilometers, stretching across 27 African countries and beyond. 20% of the planet's surface is dominated by grasslands. Surprisingly, the plant at the heart of the Savannah's story is a humble grass. South African savanna contains a rich diversity of grass species. Countless slender stems that feed an entire ecosystem. The savanna is a complex web of life, from the plants at the bottom of the food chain to the predators at the top. Stories of life and death have unfolded on these plains for millions of years. Grassland provides a feast for herds of grazers and the carnivores that track them down. Lions are the savanna's definitive hunter. The impala instinctively runs for cover. But lions are masters of ambush. The lioness's hunting partner greets her. This is a shared success. Most hunts end in failure. This kill is good news for their pride. This meal will feed the family, including their growing cubs, curbing their hunger for several days. It is through these fatal dramas that energy flows through the savanna's dynamic food chain. Plants eaten by the herbivores ultimately also sustain the carnivores. The word savanna conjures images of open grassy plains devoid of trees, such as those of Tanzania's famous Serengeti. But these are not typical. Most savannas have many trees growing in delicate balance with the grasses. The key to the existence of savanna is light. Its trees must be widely spread, so the canopy can't close over and shade out the grasses. The other essential ingredients are warm temperatures year-round, peaking in a hot season, complete with summer rains. During this wet season, a precise amount of water, over 50 centimeters, must fall for the grasses to thrive. Last but not least, the savanna depends on its animals, whose grazing habits encourage new shoots. Harnessing the sun's energy is the first step in a cycle that ultimately feeds all the hungry mouths in this ecosystem. But the savanna is not only somewhere to eat. It's also a refuge, providing shelter for animals. Of all its creatures, none are more important to the landscape than elephants. Their feeding habits maintain these open grassy plains, which would otherwise revert to forest. Elephants live in stable groups of closely related females, led by a matriarch. She has an intimate knowledge of the landscape and, in particular, the best feeding places. It's no surprise that elephants have enormous appetites. Bush elephants are the largest of all terrestrial animals, an adult female weighing in at over 3 tons. It takes 5% of her body weight, around 150 kilograms of vegetation per day, to fuel a body this big. Every day, elephants spend up to 16 hours consuming everything from grasses to bushes, even whole trees. The herd leaves a trail of destruction behind, or so it seems. In fact, their bulldozing activity is essential to the savanna. By felling a proportion of the trees in any one area, they reduce the shady canopy, enabling light to reach the understory so grasses have a chance to grow. The fallen branches also protect these new shoots, preventing grazers reaching them. Elephant activity renews the grasses, and surprisingly, the damaged trees also benefit. Resilient species, such as acacia, have adapted to cope with their brutal pruning by re-sprouting. The acacia also relies on them to help plant its seeds. Elephants have inefficient digestion, so many of the seeds they consume pass through their gut undamaged. The dung is so rich in minerals, it provides the perfect compost for the acacia seeds to germinate. The nutrients also support other life forms. Dung beetles eat it and roll dung balls over large distances to use as nests, fully stocked with food for their larvae. These busy beetles help to fertilize the surrounding soils and spread the seeds, which take root in new areas. So the plants eaten by elephants are also fed by their dung. And the interconnected cycle of life continues. Once her family is full, the matriarch leads them on to new feeding areas. Elephants play a central role in the renewal of the landscape, making homes for a diverse community of wildlife. Africa has the world's greatest concentration of antelope, most of which live on the savanna. Blue wildebeest gather in large herds, consuming grasses rich in phosphorus and nitrogen. Once the grasses are exhausted, the wildebeest will be forced to move on, often joining mass migrations in search of fresh pastures. Wildebeest herd together for protection against predators, frequently associating with other grazers such as zebra. Remarkably, there is little competition for food between species because they have distinct feeding habits. Most of the year, there's plenty to go around, but the landscape is changing. It's the end of the dry season, a tense time on the savanna. After months without rain, the tender grasses have been cropped to ground level, nibbled by an army of hungry grazers. This hasn't killed them. If the rains come, they will resprout. But now only the old indigestible vegetation remains. At this time of year, grazers struggle to find enough to eat. Surprisingly, even in times of shortage, there's little conflict over food. The secret to life on the savanna is sharing. But competition is fierce for another reason. This is the start of the breeding season. The animals are sizing each other up as potential mates or rivals. The predators are here to pick off the weaker individuals, and the scavengers to pick up the pieces. Lions are always on the lookout for their next meal. They live in groups called prides, consisting of closely related females and the area's dominant males. Lions may be deadly predators, but they actually spend most of their lives sleeping, up to 20 hours a day. This pride is mainly active at night, when their nocturnal vision gives them greater advantage over their prey. The reflective strip under the eye helps lions to see better in low light. For now, though, they do as little as possible. Thanks to the cool shade of the tree, the family can relax. But the peace won't last. There is fierce competition amongst carnivores on the savanna. They all eat meat, which is challenging to kill. Within the pride, it's the lionesses that are the main hunters. Even with their combined power, a kill is not guaranteed. With the pride taking every chance to hunt, the Savannah community must watch its back. Adult rhino, though, have little to fear. Like many savanna grazers, they're grass specialists. They lack incisors, relying instead on their strong flat lips to hoover up short grass, chewing it between massive molars. White rhino are the world's largest rhino species, like this bull, weighing in at around 2,200 kilos. This female is accompanied by her youngster, around 6 months old. But with the bull nearby, they're heading towards danger. Mothers with young normally steer clear. Bulls are known to attack other rhinos that get between them and a potential mate, even the very young. But unusually, the mother allows her calf to approach this large bull. He could easily kill the youngster with one stab of his lethal horn. But the bull's reaction is surprising. He seems to welcome the youngster's attention and responds gently, even playfully. Bulls spend most of their lives alone, but do occasionally tolerate other submissive males in their territory. After his risky adventure, the little calf returns to the safety of his mother. She is key to his survival on the Savannah, protecting him for his first 2 vulnerable years of life. Although she started to wean him, the calf will rely on his mother's milk until he is a year old. Adult rhino have no natural predators because they are large, thick-skinned, and well-armed. However, calves do occasionally fall victim to lions. Rhinos have poor vision, relying instead on their excellent hearing and sense of smell to detect threats at a distance. The mother can't see the lion clearly, but she can smell him. With her precious calf an easy target, she's not taking any chances. Rhino can charge at speeds up to 40 kilometers an hour, a lethal battering ram. The female is more than a match, even for a big male lion. At last the calf's back with his mother, where he can suckle in safety thanks to her devoted protection. One of the lion's favorite prey is buffalo. The young ones are an easy target. Even adults regularly fall victim. To protect themselves, buffalo find safety in numbers, living in large herds, complex ever-changing societies of males and females. As a strong, united front, these herds can fight off an attack from a whole pride of lions. But the herds are also targeted by smaller creatures with a taste for their blood. Plagues of parasites feast on their skin. Horns are useless against this onslaught of biting insects. But buffalo have a strategy. Close cooperation with red-billed oxpeckers. These helpful birds pick off fleas, ticks, and swarming flies. Buffalo trust them to remove the tormenting insects, and the oxpeckers benefit from a constant supply of nourishing food. And wherever the herd goes, the oxpeckers go too. Communal living has advantages, but also creates a problem. For buffalo, life in the herd means many mouths to feed. So they can't be too fussy about what they eat. Their savanna staple is grass, but there are some treats on the buffalo's menu too. Being large animals, they can reach high into the savanna's bushes. Another savanna specialist is the world's largest antelope, the eland. Males are as tall as a man, around 1.6 meters at the shoulder, but are up to 10 times as heavy. Like buffalo, eland eat a combination of grass and leaves. They adapt their diet according to what is available. Eland have the peculiar characteristic of clicking as they walk. It signals dominance. The larger the bull, the deeper the clicking sound. Smaller and more elusive is another of the savanna's antelope, perhaps the most elegant of all. Kudu. Secretive creatures, they are rarely seen out in the open. Targeted by many savanna predators, kudu have camouflaged striped coats that blend into the background so they can hide in the thickets. Like all ruminant animals, this female must chew the cud. Every mouthful is chewed, swallowed, regurgitated, and chewed a little more. Bacteria from the animal's stomach helps to break down the cellulose in the leaves as it is processed for a second time. Like the kudu in its leafy hideaway, all the savanna's animals ultimately owe their existence to the variety of habitats in this unique landscape. The savanna is one of the world's richest biomes, boasting exceptional plant diversity. In some areas, over 5,000 plant species. A variety of savanna trees grace the landscape, including the resilient acacia. This definitive savanna species is not only eaten by elephant, it's the favorite food of another iconic character, the world's tallest animal, giraffe. Their extreme height, with males standing over 5 meters tall, enables them to browse the treetops. Long legs give giraffe an unusual way of walking. To avoid tripping up over their dinner plate-sized hoofs, both legs on each side move simultaneously. And although acceleration is slow, their top speed of 55 kilometers per hour enables them to outrun lions. Their stature not only provides a vantage point when it comes to predators, but also gives access to the sweetest new leaves in the canopy. This means that they don't have to compete for food with shorter animals. And it's not just their long necks that give them the advantage. They also have a prehensile 45 centimeter tongue, which extends their grasp. Thorns, the acacia tree's usual defense, don't deter them. But the trees are not completely at the giraffe's mercy. The acacia does fight back in a surprising way. As soon as a tree is eaten by browsers, its leaves produce poisonous tannins. They also emit a chemical, ethylene, into the air that can disperse over 40 meters. Incredibly, scientists have discovered the acacia are one step ahead of the giraffe. The chemicals released by a damaged tree are detected by its neighbors that rapidly activate their own chemical defenses. Within a few minutes, all the trees in the area are toxic. It's an extraordinary early warning system evolved to protect plants from hungry animals. But plant poisons aren't enough to deter the most destructive grazers of all. The matriarch and her family are tucking into another stand of trees. Elephants can tolerate high levels of tannin in their food, as well as latex and even hydrogen cyanide. This is only possible because they vary their diets seasonally, switching to grasses after the rains. Every animal is adapted to their place in the savanna's food chain. This is nature's own recycling system, where destruction ultimately promotes new life. At the end of the dry season, testosterone is flowing. In preparation for mating, wildebeest carve up the landscape into territories. The rut has begun. Each male is fighting to defend his tiny patch of turf. If he can hold his ground and guard his females, he will get the chance to mate. In the buffalo herds, males are vying for position too. Both sexes have horns, but only the males grow heavyweight headgear, forming what is known as a boss. This acts both as a weapon and as protection during head-to-head combat. It can take 8 years for a bull to win breeding females and father offspring. The zebra stallions are fired up too. A male can only control his harem of females if he can successfully fight off the competition. The challenger will steal his harem if he can win this battle. With so much to lose, the stallions not backing down. But violence doesn't always pay. Despite their size and sharp horns, eland are peaceful creatures. Male dominance is not decided by sparring, but according to a strict social pecking order. Subtle features such as size of the dewlap, the thick skin fold under the neck, to the size of their horns determines who gets access to females. But keeping the peace is the exception to the rule at this time of year. Mature bull giraffes are generally solitary, but to gain mating rights to females, they come face to face to establish dominance. The only way to decide who's boss is a necking contest. Aiming at the legs, they each try to destabilize their opponent. A male's head is like a 30-kilogram wrecking ball at the end of a long, strong, flexible neck. Short, bony horns can cut and bruise. Giraffe fights can last for half an hour, and injuries sustained can be devastating. Jaws and necks are sometimes broken, but fights rarely prove fatal. In this instance, there is a clear winner. Head now held high, he secured himself the best chance of attracting a mate and passing on his winning genes to the next generation. His next challenge is to win over a female. Giraffe bulls darken in color as they mature. This one's in the prime of his life, and he's found a potential mate. The flick of her tail indicates she is receptive, so he now has a good chance of mating. It's no coincidence that most of the Savannah community breeds at the same time. For many species, the birth of the new generation coincides with the rainy season. The coming rains will flush the savanna with fresh new grasses, vital if there is going to be enough food for the hungry new babies. Predators are able to breed year-round, enabling them to raise their young during times of plenty. Birth rates amongst lions peak when there are lots of vulnerable young prey to catch. This dominant male has already secured his mating rights to a pride of females through fierce battles with other males. He warns the competition to keep out by scent marking. He's been tracking a receptive female for days. The pair have isolated themselves from the rest of the pride for the last 48 hours. And they've started to mate, regularly once every 15 minutes. Lions mate quickly and often, up to 40 times per day and long into the night, to maximize the chance of fertilization. Eventually, the female returns to the pride. If she is now pregnant, in 3 months she will give birth. Many of the lionesses already have cubs, and feeding their demanding youngsters is thirsty work. Within a pride, females often synchronize their breeding, sharing the childcare and even the suckling duties. Cubs of a similar age are also more likely to survive, because being the same size, they have equal access to food. At 11 months old, cubs are allowed to join the adults when they go out hunting. Until then, they have to stay behind, under the watchful eye of a babysitting lioness. The breeding season is a drain on energy for all species, particularly at the end of the dry season, when food quality is poor. Over recent months, the elephants have been traveling through a steadily drying landscape. At this time of year, 70% of their diet consists of trees and bushes. But elephants also eat fresh grasses, and these can't grow without water. Everything now is waiting for the rains. The matriarch sniffs the air. Elephants have an excellent sense of smell. They also have acute hearing, sensitive to low-frequency sounds, such as distant thunder, and are believed to be able to detect coming rains hundreds of kilometers away. Essential ingredient for the renewal of the savanna. Within days, the first green shoots sprout from moistened ground. Fresh food for a growing savanna community. And there are new faces everywhere. Out on an open plain, female blesbok antelope are beginning to drop their lambs. From its high vantage point, a Verreaux's eagle has spotted the activity. An adult is far too big to be targeted by the raptor, but newborns are vulnerable. The eagles found the next best thing, a discarded afterbirth. It makes a perfect meal. Verreaux's eagles mate for life, and its partner is hungry too. Eagles are efficient hunters, but they will scavenge if the opportunity arises, thus becoming a vital link in the savanna food chain, recycling the nutrients back into the system. There are new additions to the resident lion pride. One of the females has returned with her 6-week-old cubs. Isolated with their mother in the safety of a birthing den until now, they're ready to join their extended family. For the female cubs that will remain in the pride for life, this is the start of a long cooperative relationship. Born at this time of year, there should be plenty of food for the growing family. And with the cubs close in age, they'll be equally matched when it comes to seizing their share. In time, their mothers will teach the youngsters how to hunt and take their place as apex predators. For now, though, their carefree days are full of play. The rainy season has brought water in volumes, and the waterholes are full. Elephants love to get wet. The matriarch and her family indulge in a deep bath. Elephants are experts at finding drinking water, even during drought. But it's a treat to find water deep enough to plunge into. Bathing is part of an elephant's cleaning routine, which also involves scratching against trees to slough off loose skin and parasites. The whole family joins in. The Savannah lies at the heart of untamed Africa, where the fortunes of animals and plants are interlinked in an eternal cycle which brings renewal and fresh growth. Now flushed green, the landscape will nourish its animals for months to come, creating energy to feed the Savannah's dynamic web of life. Africa's grasslands are home to a variety of mammals. But none are as well known as the continent's 5 safari superstars: lion, rhinoceros, leopard, buffalo, and elephant. They are the celebrated Big Five. But it's not easy being big in the wild. In the constant struggle to succeed in Africa's dynamic ecosystems, the Big Five must work hard to survive. Few animals in the world inspire such awe as a male lion in his prime. His confident yellow eyes, huge head and lush golden mane command respect. He is the largest of all Africa's carnivores, powerfully built and beautiful. It's shocking then for many to imagine killing such a noble beast. But colonial hunters who came to Africa considered tracking and shooting lions as one of their highest achievements. Along with 4 other of the continent's most powerful and impressive animals. In time, this group became known as the Big Five. Each revered by hunters as dangerous adversaries and thus sought after trophies, as each of the 5 could easily kill an unwary hunter. In modern times, thankfully, trophy hunting is far less popular, and many of these majestic animals now live in protected wildlife parks and reserves around Africa. But they still face the brutal challenges of the natural world, where their survival is by no means secure. Each animal must use its unique combinations of size, strength, stealth, and power in numbers to persevere. Lions are the biggest of Africa's cats, with males standing 1.2 meters tall at the shoulder and weighing around 200 kilograms. While lionesses are smaller, at about 130 kilograms. They are the only truly social big cats, living together in groups known as prides. Their ability to hunt as a team gives them the edge and allows them to bring down prey well over twice their size. By weight, lions are responsible for 65% of the prey killed on the Savannah. And these lions specialize in hunting one of their fellow Big Five. Buffaloes are no easy target, though, because these huge herbivores have one special weapon against predators: power in numbers. Herds like this one are made up mostly of females and their young, and can have several hundred members. Within such a big group, organization is needed. And buffaloes have a well-ordered herd structure, with smaller family units sticking together. This mother had her first calf at around 5 years old. The youngster will be weaned at 7 months, and from there on will subsist on grass like his mum. If conditions are good, the mother will have a new calf every 15 months. She, like all buffalo cows, won't move far from her relatives in the herd. But the bulls must look further afield if they're to find a mate. Before they can breed, they have to fight their way up the herd's hierarchy. This means going head-to-head with other bulls. Two 800-kilogram bulls slamming into each other has the equivalent force of a car hitting a wall at 50 kilometers per hour. To protect their brains and absorb the impact, males have a thick helmet of horn called a boss. It takes 8 years of battling for a buffalo bull to get high enough on the pecking order to be eligible for breeding. Dominance in these mega herds has other benefits too. The highest-ranking buffaloes take up position at front and center of the herd, giving them first access to the best food and minimizing their chances of becoming prey. But not all buffalo enjoy the safety of the herd. Bulls leave when they get too old to fight for dominance or keep up with the group. Alone, they are far more vulnerable to lions. And more dangerous to man. Legends of these old bulls trampling and goring hunters to death struck fear into the hearts of men and earned buffalo a place in the Big Five. Unlike rhino and elephant, buffalo weigh less than a ton, making them small enough to be killed by lions. Mostly the mega herders have the edge, and a united front of horned heads can drive away a whole pride of lions. Such large congregations not only offer protection from predators, they also play a crucial role in maintaining the savanna ecosystem. Buffalo are bulk grazers, using wide rows of incisors to crop large quantities of long grass. As they feed, they clear access to shorter, more nutritious chutes below for selective grazers like rhino. It's the buffalo's ability to work as a herd and to survive on low-quality food that has allowed them to thrive in the face of nature's challenges. With population estimates ranging from 500,000 to 1 million, they are the most numerous of any of the big five. But still, buffalo must stay vigilant. Because lions are also experts at working together, which is no doubt how this buffalo became a meal. Male lions are more powerful than the females and eat first. Once this big male has had the proverbial lion's share, the rest will eat. The pride is at home in the dense cover of the bushveld, using the cloak of foliage to remain unseen and protect their newest and most vulnerable members. The young lions are barely 6 weeks old and have only just left the den where they spent their first weeks of life. Still, they're too young and vulnerable to be out in the open. And for now, Mum keeps them out of sight. Despite the close-knit family system, lion prides are relatively fluid. Members come and go within a territory of about 40 square kilometers. Not far away, the cub's older siblings are enjoying a hunting success of their own. This lioness was born in a litter of 5 and spends much of her time with her sister and 3 brothers. At 18 months, they're old enough to be completely independent of their mother. Working together, they have become proficient hunters and brought down a buffalo calf. It may be hidden from other lions and hyenas in the tangle of bushes, but it attracts the attention of Africa's biggest aerial scavengers. The lions don't appreciate uninvited lunch guests. But at midday, it's too hot to eat. So one of the brothers tries to move the kill out of view. But it's too much effort. He'll have to stand guard for now. the vultures won't try anything while the lion's still around. This kill is a promising sign for the young lions, honing their hunting skills now before they have to leave the comfort and familiarity of the pride is important. Soon the males will have to seek a territory and pride of their own, which will require fighting ferocious battles with other big males. But the brothers are at an advantage. They will leave together, cooperating in their coalition of 3 to hunt and challenge for control over another pride. As night falls, temperatures drop and the young lions are ready to eat. Dinner time in a lion family can be a noisy affair. And after the first course, they relax under the stars. But the smell of the kill attracts an unlikely visitor. A female leopard. The Big Five's more elusive cat does scavenge sometimes. But she knows better than to intrude on a lion's feast. If the lions caught her hanging around, they would kill her. And beating a hasty retreat is a wise decision. When food is available in abundance, lions will gorge themselves. The males eat up to 40 kilograms, and the females around 20 at a time. That's about 5 times their daily food requirement. This much food is a luxury of a successful pride. Not all are so lucky. Despite their cooperative hunting behavior, lions generally only have a 30% kill rate. That means 70% of the time they go away without any dinner. And when prey is scarce or the pride is inexperienced, hunger quickly gives way to starvation. With ribs and hip bones showing, it's clear that this young pride hasn't eaten in many days. It's a stark contrast to the bloated bellies of the more successful pride, and telling evidence that although lions are thought of as Africa's most ferocious killers, their lives are by no means easy. The lions that do survive are the strongest and most skilled hunters, taking top spot on the food chain and eating most of the savanna's big herbivores. But not all of them. This is one of the last black rhinos left in Africa. They may be too big to fall prey to lions, but they are no match for man. Before intensive poaching by humans, black rhinos were the most numerous and widespread of the 5 species of rhino in the world. The decrease in their numbers from 65,000 in the wild in 1970 to just over 5,000 now represents one of the fastest declines of any large mammal in recorded history. This bull, like all male rhinos, is a solitary browser, eating more than 200 species of trees and bushes. His prehensile hooked lip pulls foliage into his mouth. The reason he is immune to being eaten is because he weighs 1,200 kilograms. By exceeding 1 ton in weight, he's above the predation threshold, making him too big for lions to kill. For this mother lion, hunting is far from a priority. Her main concern is keeping her cubs safe and staying cool in the heat of the day. But this isn't easy for her, because lions cannot sweat. Without sufficient sweat glands, they resort to panting to expel excess heat. Along with sticking to the shade, this makes the scorching climate bearable. Even heat cannot dull one of the cub's most driving urges: to feed. Her growl is a clear enough message: back off. Even the starling, dressed in chic but heat-absorbing purple feathers, is getting too hot. It also turns to panting to keep cool. As the afternoon passes, temperatures drop, and the lioness has moved into a more comfortable position. The cubs are restless in their bushy hideout. They're hungry, but won't make a hasty move. Mealtimes are not on their terms. They know to let this sleeping lioness be. When she rolls onto her back, It's like a sign saying the milk bar is open. The bravest cub approaches cautiously. Mum consents. It's dinner time. The cubs will get all their nourishment from suckling until they're around 8 weeks old. Once the lioness is satisfied that the cubs are well fed, she moves them back into the safety of the undergrowth. They have a lot of growing up to do before they become Africa's most powerful predators. The cubs are the only Big Five babies around. This white rhino calf is less than a year old, and his keratin horn is not much more than a bump. He's been eating grass since he was 8 weeks old, but he'll continue to suckle from his mother for several months. Rhinos have poor eyesight, and he keeps close to Mum, as he's still vulnerable to lions and hyenas. With Mother's protection, he will likely grow into a mature bull, weighing around 2,200 kilograms. But for now, he's quite content at his mother's side and will stay with her for 2 to 3 years or until she has another calf. The bond between mother and calf is extremely strong in white rhinos, more so than with black rhinos. White and black rhino are both grey, but they exhibit certain differences, like size. The white rhino is almost a ton heavier. The name white derives from a mistranslation of the Afrikaans word wyd, meaning wide, in reference to its broad, square muzzle. This defining characteristic allows the white rhino to feed on its choice of the savanna's dense, short grasses. But the grasses often contain ticks that get into hard-to-reach places. Luckily, there are oxpeckers willing to offer their cleaning services. The birds feed on the ticks, and both parties benefit from the arrangement. White rhinos are the world's only purely grazing rhino species. And weighing in at 2 tons, they are possibly the largest pure grazers that ever lived. White rhinos are considered territorial and semi-social, as they do not form large herds. Females, however, are rarely found alone and will congregate in groups of up to 6. Like this group of 2 related cows and a sub-adult calf. Rhino cows often move through many male territories. And they've attracted the attention of the bull, who controls this area. Adult bulls are largely solitary, living in ranges of a few square kilometers. And this bull is eager to get to know his visitors. But the cows are not interested, and politely remove themselves. While rhino bulls are somewhat retreating in their courtship, another one of the big 5 is more overt in his intentions. Mature elephant bulls weigh around 5 tons, making them the world's biggest land animal. They are 2.5 times larger than the white rhino. This bull may be particularly aggressive. His weeping temporal glands and frequent urination are a sure sign that he is in a condition known as must. From the age of 25 years old, must occurs sporadically in bulls, increasing their testosterone to 6 times its normal levels. Bulls in must dominate others in fights and are left well alone by most. Free to focus on finding cows to mate with. Although females are smaller, they control the movement of herds, which are matriarchal, made up of related females and young males, all of whom share close social ties. Elephant families have the opposite activity regime to lions, sleeping for only 4 or 5 hours a day. This large herd has been moving constantly in search of food and water. It's an exhausting existence for youngsters. This newborn elephant calf already weighs 100 kilograms. Being on the move all day has taken its toll on the youngster. In elephant life, there is no bond stronger than that between a mother and her offspring. And this mum is rightly concerned about her little one. In the heat, it's become dehydrated and needs to rest. Another youth is also facing a tough time. Like all bulls, at adolescence he was ejected from the herd. Sometimes the young bulls form bachelor groups, like these two. The older bull's missing tusk shows he's had his share of battles. The two are after one of their favorite foods, the nutritious pods of a camel thorn tree. But the pods are too high up to be picked. One of the bulls knows how to bring them down to his level. And he has perfected getting the pods into his mouth with a deft flick of the trunk. An elephant's trunk contains an amazing 50,000 muscles. The appendage is incredibly versatile and strong, which is one of the reasons the elephant eats the biggest variety of plants of any herbivore. While feeding, this bull is doing the Cape glossy starling a favor. He's rustling up insects as he forages, which the opportunistic bird picks off. The use of their trunks, combined with immense strength and intelligence, means that elephants can survive in some of Africa's harshest landscapes. While the largest member of the Big Five lives an extremely social life, the smallest member is the exact opposite. The leopard is renowned for its secrecy. They are the most private of Africa's big cats. Leopards are adapted to a range of habitats and are the most widespread wildcats on the planet. Dense vegetation like that along the banks of this river provides them with plenty of cover, vital for hunters that rely primarily on stealth. The ability to move unseen helps them escape the attention of bigger competitors, another key to their success. Because they can live in almost any habitat offering enough cover in which to hide, leopards reside inside and outside of protected areas. Their ability to avoid human persecution, as well as their adaptability, has enabled them to live across most of Africa and beyond into Asia. This female is well established in her territory of about 25 square kilometers. It's prime hunting ground, and she has successfully defended it from other females for many years. Males are afforded access only briefly to mate. This is her only companionship in an otherwise solitary life. Like all females, she is slightly smaller than a male, but is still powerfully built and an effective hunter. Leopards are masters of ambush. Stalking silently, they get as close as possible to unsuspecting victims like impala. before pouncing and killing them swiftly with a strangling bite. In areas where other bigger predators like lion and hyena exist, leopards drag their kills into the boughs of trees to avoid being hijacked. Here the kill is relatively safe, and she can eat in peace. But she has to prepare her meal first. This is done by carefully plucking the hair off the carcass with her front teeth. She then uses her powerful jaws and large canines to rip into the meat. Above, vultures circle, knowing full well their time will come. With no family members to share the feast, she can take her time feeding. The kill not only provides ample sustenance, but also most of the moisture she needs in the form of blood. Meaning leopards can go for long periods without water. Elephants, however, need to drink more regularly. This little one has arrived at water just in time. Baby elephants are far more susceptible than adults to the potentially fatal risk of dehydration. Elephants use water for more than just drinking. Bathing is a favorite pastime that fulfills an important function for the elephants. Their massive bodies generate as much as 5 kilowatts of metabolic heat, the equivalent of enough power to run a microwave for 5 hours. And after a hot day on the Savannah, a swim prevents overheating. With their collective thirst quenched, the herd can relax and enjoy some grooming. Rubbing against the riverbanks helps remove parasites and keep the elephants clean and healthy. Water is integral to the elephant's life, as it is for all of the big five and those that live here. The buffaloes come down in herds to sip together at the shore's edge. Rhino, too, arrive to quench the thirst of a long day. Even the lions are drinking, but they do so discreetly at a small stream away from the hustle and bustle of the waterhole. In Africa's great savanna ecosystems, none of the famous five are exempt from a reliance on water. Each of the animals in the Big Five is exceptional in one way or another, whether in size or strength or social behavior. These charismatic animals are recognized in a class of their own. The huge solitary rhino, with its armor-like skin and lance-like horn. The stealthy and elusive leopard, moving unseen and unheard. Mega-herding buffalo, rumbling through the bush in throngs of thousands. Ferocious lions, symbols of brute strength and cunning cooperation. And the enormous, social, resilient elephant. Each uses its strengths to thrive on the African savanna. And together they capture the imagination of the world. As icons of Africa's wildlife riches, they are and will always be the Big Five. Africa's pride.